and welcome to Candidates Up Front, a public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Art Grimm, a member of the League. Our April 23rd primary election is coming up. This is the election in which the main political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, choose their candidates for state and federal offices. You need to be registered to vote as either a Republican or a Democrat to choose your party's candidate. Please note, if you are not registered, you have until April the 8th to do so. If you need more information on registering or voting, visit elections@berkspa.gov or phone our Berks County Department of Election Services at 610-478-6490. You may also vote by mail-in ballot. That application is available on the same website or through the same phone number. The deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot is April the 16th. The League is only interviewing candidates in contested local races. For information on all the races, please use the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. That's vote411.org. Just type in your address and it will show you who is on your ballot with information that will be available from most of the candidates. This year in Berks County, there is only one local contested race. It is in the Republican Party for the 11th Senatorial District. Let's look at the map. The district, as you will note, runs from the northeast of Berks County to the southwest of Berks County. It includes the city of Reading and the surrounding suburbs, including Muhlenberg Township and Wyomissing Borough. It also includes Kutztown Borough and Richmond Townships in the north, and Spring Township, Adamstown, and Moton to the south. The two candidates on the Republican ballot for the 11th Senatorial District are Leisha Rowe and Miguel Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez has kindly agreed to interview. Please note that the opinions expressed in this interview are his and not the opinions of the League of Women Voters or of Berks County TV. Mr. Vasquez, welcome.
No, thank you.
It's good to have you here. Please tell us about yourself and why you're running for this office.
Well, my name is Miguel Vasquez. I'm born and bred here in Berks County. Started out going to school in Muhlenberg. Went to Catholic school for a few years, HGA, Holy Guardian Angels, and Reading Central Catholic. And then I graduated from Reading High, and then I finished up over at Albright College many years later. I got my degree a little late, but I finished up there. So I'm the father of 9 kids. We're a blended family. I have 4 stepchildren, two of my kids, and then 3 that are adopted. And the reason I'm running for state senate, for any seat really, is I just want to leave a better Pennsylvania for my kids. And I feel that if as a parent, if that's what I want to do, 99% of the other parents want to do the same thing. So,
thank you. Okay. You are a Republican. What draws you to your party?
Well, I early on I used to be Democrat, and I changed my ways. When I worked for the county, I did some work with the union and whatnot, and I kind of saw a really ugly side of the Democrat Party because of that. So I wasn't a really big fan. And then my aunt actually, she gave me Rush Limbaugh's book, and I started reading that, and a lot of his views were my views. So that's why I kind of switched over. I realized that I was much more conservative than I thought, and that's why I'm a Republican now.
So are there any things about your party that you're not comfortable with?
Not so much. I mean, I really do agree a lot of what they say. Maybe the far right conspiracy theories that come out every now and then, I'm like, that gets a little out of hand. But overall, I'm pretty. I think I bleed red. So.
Okay. Bipartisanship and compromise in the legislature is a rare thing, leading to few accomplishments, even when the majority of constituents may agree. Now, I know that you've indicated that your experience in the Muhlenberg School Board has led you to value bipartisanship. I wonder how you will increase and improve bipartisanship in the legislature. How would you go about that?
Well, on the school board, I've been lucky because Republican or Democrat, everybody that I've served with so far is in it for the right reasons. They're in it for the kids. That's why we're there. We're not there, to push our own agendas. We're there to make sure that the kids get everything that they need. And I think it's the same just at a state level, just a couple more people involved. As long as everyone remembers why we're there and who we're there for, sure. It should be pretty easy it should be pretty natural to make that next step.
Very good, thank you. On the first day of the legislative session, you're going to be asked to approve the rules of conducting business. The rules as they presently are in place allow committee chairs, who actually represent only about 17% of the population of Pennsylvanians, to block legislation even if the majority of legislators support it. Should these rules stay as they are, or should they be changed? And how would you go about that?
Well, honestly, I'm not really sure. I've never really thought about that. Now, listening to the question, it doesn't seem to be fair, but it does seem to give the minority a voice, which I think that's what our state and our country is built on, is making sure that our minorities have a voice. So at this point, I wouldn't make any changes, no.
Okay. If you were going to change Pennsylvania's abortion laws, how would you change them? And are there restrictions that you would either increase or decrease?
Well, I think with Mr. Shapiro in office, I don't think that anything's going to change as far as the 24 weeks that we currently have that's on the books. So maybe in the future, I would like to see that lessened to maybe 15 weeks. But I don't think there's too much that can be done at this point unless there's a huge shift in Republicans and Democrats in office.
Sure. So. Okay, fair enough. We all know, and some more than others, that pregnancy is not benign. In the United States, for every 100,000 pregnant women, almost 24 of them die during or soon after pregnancy. This is a much, much higher figure than virtually any other developed nation in the world. It especially hits minority and rural women. Does Pennsylvania have a responsibility to provide more support to pregnant women in order to prevent these deaths?
I think absolutely. I mean, we should be providing as much support as we can to anyone, not just pregnant women, but can we necessarily legislate that? I mean, I think it's providing the medical community more resources to be able to do what they need to do to ensure that they can do their best for our pregnant women.
Okay. Gun violence is an issue that costs the United States $557 billion annually. And for perspective, that's more than 10 times Pennsylvania's annual budget. It's police, it's ambulances, it's hospital emergency rooms, it's ongoing care for the wounded. These costs add to inflation. What can the legislature in Pennsylvania do to reduce gun violence and reduce the cost to taxpayers and to the companies that provide health insurance to their employees?
Well, I think when it comes to gun violence, I think we already have a lot of laws in the books. I mean, we have to just make sure to follow them. From my understanding, a lot of stuff isn't being followed, or they're not. There's no follow through when someone does get in trouble for anything. And we've been seeing that a lot on the news, especially as of late. That someone gets arrested for a pretty big issue, and then the DA or whoever just decides either not to prosecute, or they get to go out on bond. And these are the people that are usually doing the same crimes, even while they're waiting to be adjudicated for the first crime that has happened. So as long as we follow what's already in the books, we're continuing to make sure that we do our background checks. We should be okay. So,
what I hear you saying is that the majority of gun violence that's perpetrated is done by a relatively small number of people, and that these people are often permitted to come back onto the streets and repeat the same thing over and over again. Is that a fair statement?
Correct, sir, yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that comment. So Berks County is 50% agricultural. Growing seasons have changed. storms are more destructive, and we've had drought, certainly. Should Pennsylvania do more to protect our economy by doing more to prevent and mitigate climate change?
I think we are. I think at this point we're doing pretty much what we can do. Climate change, I don't see climate change as a real big issue because climate's just always changes. I don't think that it's to the extreme where people are saying, the world's going to end in 12 years, because that's what we've been hearing for the last 30, 40 years, that the world's about to end because of climate change, and to date nothing has really happened. But I mean, should we always be looking out to recycle and to do things like that? Absolutely, absolutely.
In terms of fuel and energy and the production of energy, should we continue to focus on fossil fuels, or should we be looking more at renewable energy?
Well, I think at this point, definitely both. I mean, fossil fuels are here whether people like it or not, and we need them. I think Pennsylvania, the last time I checked, with natural gas, we were like ranked eighth in the world or whatnot with natural gas reserves, and it'd be crazy not to tap into that resource, because I mean, right off the bat, we need money, we need what we can do, but also on the other end is definitely continue to look into renewable resources, because eventually we're going to need them. I mean, I don't think we need them right now, but we will, and we should get there at some point in time.
Miguel, we have 500 school districts in Pennsylvania, most of which rely heavily on the property tax because the legislature has not agreed to a long-range plan for school funding. What is your view on how Pennsylvania should fund its public schools?
I think currently the way everything's being funded, we're doing okay. I think schools really should be fully funded. But on the other side of that, also, I think schools should be held accountable for the performance as educators. Our focus should be on preparing our children for the workforce. So, I mean, sorry,
it's okay.
It's because there's so much involved in this. It's like I'm so passionate about this subject.
Sure.
But like with Muhlenberg, I understand that taxes are high; they can be high, and we just passed a big tax increase because we're building new schools. We have more kids coming in, but I think we definitely have to look at a different way on how we provide that funding and how fairly and equitable that is.
Okay. So does that mean continue the property tax way of doing business, or does it mean some alternative way, or is there a blended approach?
I think there'd be a blended approach. At this point, the property tax is the way that we know. But I have heard other people talk about, maybe getting rid of that, going to like a sales tax and whatnot. And the taxing is all good and dandy, but I really want to see a more of a focus, if we're going to be using our tax money for this, on the schools also, to make sure that they're holding their end of the bargain.
Okay. On another area, a topic of interest, Pennsylvania's minimum wage is lower than every state around us. This means workers sometimes travel to neighboring states to work jobs that pay better. I know people who live here in Reading who go into New Jersey to work. I'm sure you probably know folks as well that do that. Should Pennsylvania increase its minimum wage in order to keep workers here?
Well, I think my view on the minimum wage is I'm not too worried too much about the minimum wage. I think people need to make themselves marketable and not rely on the minimum wage. I've always viewed it as the minimum wage is for entry level or kids in high school that are just starting to get a job. They still live at home, and whatnot. It's really the minimum wage should be set by the market. And as long as people are making themselves more marketable, they're doing what they can to make themselves attractive to employers, the employer will pay that. And I've lived it. I didn't have a degree. I've realized I needed to get a degree if I wanted to move up. I went and got a degree, and that's when my world opened up. It's when everything I started to move up in my career. So.
Okay. Under the issue of redistricting, drawing new borders for each legislative district follows every census. In Pennsylvania, some say the currently serving legislators choose their voters by drawing district lines to favor incumbents. You know, the old idea of Donald Duck kicking Mickey Mouse in the way in which a district was drawn. In Pennsylvania, it's going to take a constitutional amendment to change the process. Would you support a constitutional amendment to create an independent redistricting commission, one that's free from legislative influence, one that is public and transparent in its process, and one that will work with prioritized and measurable mapping standards?
I mean, absolutely, you can. That's exactly what we need. I always preach transparency. That's one of the main things I preach. I don't like the current process. It does seem like there could be too much hokey pokey stuff going on. Bring in a third party, independent. Let them do what they need to do and justify why they did what they did.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Do you believe that Pennsylvania's elections are fair and secure, and is there anything that you would do in order to make them better?
I mean, I do believe in voter ID, but yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania, I think, are pretty fair and secure at this point.
Okay. Some people suggest that it would be a good idea for local elected officials to spend a day working in our local election office before voting on election bills. How do you feel about that?
No, that makes sense. I actually did. I worked for my precinct for 2 election cycles, so I was a machine operator, and I got to meet a lot of people, got to learn a lot about how things happen, and that's why I believe that. I mean, we're pretty secure in how our elections are held because I got to see firsthand how they're done and directly with the machines. So,
very good. Compared to other states, Pennsylvania has what I would characterize as weak laws on campaign finance limits and enforcement. There are loopholes in the disclosure laws that apply to lobbyists, and lawmakers aren't banned from taking gifts. Do you feel that these laws need to be strengthened, or do you think they're just fine the way they are?
No, I believe they have to be strengthened. I think those laws make it extremely hard for especially somebody new like myself that's trying to come on board. Because when somebody that's been tenured, has been here a while, they already have their lobbyists, they're giving them the money. Someone like myself that's doing it, that's coming in, I don't have that type of backing, and I think we just need to make it as fair as possible for the elections, and definitely need to change some of these laws up.
So we're at the point where, believe it or not, we're winding down, and we're almost 20 minutes down the road. Time flies when you're having fun. We do have about 2 minutes left. Is there anything that you would like to make in the way of a closing statement? Just a little bit more about yourself and something that the voters can use as a takeaway.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Hopefully, I mean, I make it past the primaries into the general and I move forward. And all I'm asking is for everyone's support. I'm not looking to make this a career. I simply want to get in because I feel like I can make a change, and I want to make Pennsylvania better for my children and for everyone else's children and for the future to come. At one point, I actually debated leaving Pennsylvania, but I'm like, why? I've lived here all my life. I love it here. I want to fight for what I love. So hopefully everyone can give me their support and help me move on to the next level here. Thank you.
Just one more question along the line of campaigning. Before the program began, you were telling me what it was like to do door-to-door and meet people and how you found people to react to you as a candidate. Can you just tell us a little bit about that experience?
Sure. I love it. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. I think what struck me most was knocking on doors. People are surprised that a Republican is knocking on these doors for the Senate seat, because obviously there hasn't been a Republican in that seat for quite a long time. So most people are meeting me and they're like, "What? You're doing what?" Like, "Oh, really?" And then they're getting excited. So to see that Republicans are stepping up and finally trying to do something here in this area. So
that's great. So I want to thank you very much for sharing your views with all of us today. It's been great. Before we close, I want to remind our viewers that there is another candidate in this race, Leisha Rowe. Again, you can find information on both Miguel as well as her at vote411.org. And I want to thank all of you viewers for watching Candidate Up Front. These programs are brought to you in the public interest by BCTV and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Art Grimm. Good day.